Alright, hey guys, welcome in to another episode of The Collectors. I am your host, Chad Starbuck, and today's show is going to be a little bit different. Not only am I going to be your host today, but I'm going to be your guest. Recently, I have received some comments and some questions over Instagram to potentially just learn a little bit more about me. So I thought I would take this episode to just give you a little bit of background about myself and how I got started. So why don't we go ahead and jump right in. So one of the first questions, and the question I actually get quite a bit, is who was my influence to start collecting? And it was primarily my parents. My mom and dad. I grew up in Kansas, and my mom and dad were certainly into antiques and collectibles. Quite a bit of our house was full of antique furniture and things that they found in antique stores just around Kansas. And I think that's probably where I kind of got my collecting bug, as well as my appreciation for things that are old. So I think probably that's kind of where I got my start, was certainly from them. And they've actually passed a few things down to me that they collected over the years, and now I have those same things in my home. Another question that I have gotten as well is kind of what was the first things that started me into collecting, and I can certainly say that it was baseball cards. As a kid growing up in the late 70s and the early 80s, that was kind of the heyday of baseball cards, and I was certainly into baseball. My friends and I during the summertime would play baseball probably every day out on the field, and we would also collect baseball cards. Now, primarily what I was collecting was, during that time period, was Topps baseball cards. I would collect sets, I would collect individual cards, I would go to card shows. That was a time when there were certainly card shows, not only in the area, but would maybe head over to Kansas City and hit a card show there to be able to find specific cards that maybe I was looking for, or to complete a set. But a lot of times I just ordered my sets straight from the Topps company, and then I would build on those sets with individual cards. So I would collect cards, I would collect sports memorabilia, autographs. Again, I grew up in Kansas. I was a huge Kansas City Royals fan, and at that time period, probably one of the top players in the major leagues was George Brett. I think George Brett was certainly my idol at that time, and I had always wanted to be able to get his rookie card, which was a 1975 Topps card. But during that time, I couldn't afford that card. It was going for quite a bit of money. And then actually just a couple of years ago, I was finally able to obtain that card. This is it right here, 1975, his Topps rookie card. And I will certainly probably hang on to this one for quite some time. So baseball cards was the thing that got me started. Now, another question that has come up a couple of times is related to buying and selling. So I think, those of you that do know me and you know my Instagram site, I Remember When Vintage, I am a buyer and a seller. I certainly keep a lot of stuff, or at least I keep a lot of stuff for a period of time, and then I will probably list it for sale, either on my Etsy site or on Instagram. Now, I am a buyer and seller, and I predominantly buy from estate sales, from garage sales, and lately I have been doing a lot more just on auctions online, from various different auction companies around the country, locally as well as nationally, looking for very specific items that I might be looking to buy. Now, there are certainly some things that I am niched into, and if you've seen my Instagram site, you can certainly see that I do love pennants. And I probably got that fascination with pennants from the Felt Fanatic, from Zach, who was a guest on our show not too long ago. But he probably got me into pennants, and I bought some pennants from him. There are quite a few types of pennants that I like. I certainly like the travel type of pennants. This one here is from Atlantic City. They just got great graphics on them, great color as well. This one's probably from the late 40s, early 50s. Like pennants like that. Here's another one here. This one here is representing Akron, Ohio, and the Soapbox Derby. Again, great color on this pennant. It's got great imagery, just like things like that. And then I also like the different types of college pennants as well. Well, this one's kind of a crossover a little bit. This one's probably about from the late 1910s, early 1920s. an Army pennant that I picked up actually in an auction not too long ago. This one here is another school from the 1920s. Now this one is huge, as you can see. Again, great color. It does have a little bit of wear in it from some from moth holes in it, but it's quite cool. And the last one here, this one is from the University of Arizona. This again is an older pennant, probably from about the 1910s, late 1910s. So again, if you've got pennants, you're looking to sell them, don't feel free to reach out to me. Some of the other things that I like as well, anything paper related, again, postcards, kind of like this pretty cool postcard here from the state of California. Odd shaped, but it does have the ability to put your name on it and put a stamp on it and send it out, like things like that. Again, programs maybe, maps, those types of things I certainly like as well. And then I like vintage clothing. I've really started to get into vintage clothing lately. This is an item here. Obviously this does not fit me, but this is a Roy Rogers and Dale Evans child's cowboy shirt. It's got some great stuff on it here. If you can see that tag there, I'll show a picture of this, but just really cool stuff like that. Those are types of things that I'm into lately. Now another question that I've gotten, because it's one that I ask a lot of my guests, is what's your biggest score? And I do have to tell you a little story here. This was probably a good 3 to 4 years ago. I got a call from a house cleanout company here in Salt Lake City. I believe I'd probably met the person at an estate sale. But what this company does is they literally go into a house and they clean it out. The person might be going into a home, they may have passed away. The family had already gone in and taken the items out that they wanted to, but now they had to get the house cleaned out. So this company comes in and they clean out that house. So the person gave me a phone call and said, hey, there's a lot of stuff in this house that's all boxed up. Would you be interested in coming over and just picking it up? So I said, sure. Headed over to the house. Again, a lot of the stuff was already boxed up. I didn't want to be too picky because again, they were certainly being nice to me and asking me if I would like the items. So I went over and I picked up all the boxes, loaded them in my car, and headed home before I even had the chance to go through the items. So then, going through the boxes, various different things. There was some really nice glassware. There was even some old photographs and such. But I came across a little box that had some political pins in it. So kind of went through that box there, those pins, was kind of just checking out a few of them online. And one of the pins in there happened to be a pretty rare pin, probably only about the size of a quarter. But it was a very early pin, very rare pin, presidential pin for Coolidge and Dawes. So again, doing some research on that pin, found out that it was could be quite valuable. So I sent it off to an auction company. That auction company you might have heard of is Heritage Auctions. They put it in one of their auctions. Again, this was about 3 to 4 years ago. And again, for a pen that I literally paid nothing for, I believe the pen itself sold for about $3,700. So that was probably my biggest score. And that was pretty cool to be able to come across something like that. Another question that I got asked, because it's one of the questions that I asked my guest, is what's your most cherished item? And I do have an item that I'm very proud of. That happens to be an early 1900s oak rolling map case. So this case has a roll-up on it. Inside it are about 8 or 9 different maps. It's from Rand McNally. It's got hooks on the back of it, so it would have went up on a wall, probably within a school, a government office, or a college or a university. And again, the maps, you're able to grab those maps and you're able to pull them down. And then it's got that little spring action into it, and you pull it down again and it goes back up into the map case. It's just a fantastic piece. I've got it set up in my living room. It's just beautiful, and it's probably something that I won't sell either. So that's probably my most cherished item, and one that I am certainly very proud of. Now, another question I received is, have I been featured anywhere? And I can say no, I haven't necessarily been featured in any sort of magazine or publication, but I have been on the History Channel show Pawn Stars. I actually taped that episode about 1.5 years ago. It aired in 2020. And then I was asked to be on the show again, and I taped at the end of 2020, and that show will probably be coming up sometime in Q1 or Q2 of 2021. Both times a lot of fun. Certainly enjoyed being down in Las Vegas and working with the cast and the crew, and those are just a lot of fun to do. So guys, that is a little bit about me. You can always find me on Instagram at I Remember When Vintage, and you can certainly shop my shops on Etsy at I Remember When Vintage, as well as my other shop, which is Old School Collegiate. Old School Collegiate is where I sell my vintage college items. It might be pennants like that Arizona pennant that I showed you, vintage sweatshirts, vintage t-shirts, and things like that related to athletics and universities. So go check out those shops. And again, guys, I certainly want to thank you all for joining along on this ride that we've had. We've got more episodes upcoming with some great guests. So again, thank you for watching the show. And then join me next time as we travel the country in search of another unique collector and collection. Take care and keep collecting.